a couple of personnel issues, Dennis, first of all. I understand Owen Farnworth is signing a new contract for you.
Yeah, we've got a number of players that are in a situation where we're offering deals and they're pretty keen to get it done, so a couple of our senior boys are in that mix, but tying our youth players and tying our future down is pretty important. And these kind of kids now, that they're like, they're a little bit like hen's teeth. Everybody's searching for the best players and taking away from clubs. I think the testament to us at this moment in time, and although it seems like it's a bit of a rocky road at times, that everybody wants to stay here. The kids want to be here. They're being chased by other clubs, but they all want to commit, and they commit long term to what they see as a bright future here at the Vikings. And that's someone like Owen. He's got the potential to go on and be an international front row. He's aggressive. He's got good foot speed. He works really hard at his game. He's got a little bit more growth in him. So we've got lots of hope and ambition set into Owen Farnworth.
Is there a real fear when someone like Owen and others come along that you can put all this development work into, and then someone with a bigger pot of money can come along and just
well, that's what happens, doesn't it? Realise it. Well, you look at. I did the TV for the Challenge Cup on the weekend, and when you look through and you saw some of the stats that were given out on their Warrington side, I think they had 8 of their blokes in their team that had been brought in on transfer fees. 8 starting members of their first team were like high paid recruits, and that's what top sides are looking at. They're looking at other teams because there's not a massive depth of quality. Like I say, we hold our hands up across the game. So when you find it, you've got to retain it, and we've worked really hard, and it's down to the lads as well. Like you say, you talk to Owen, and you talk to Danny Walker, and you talk to the Chapel Owls, and those kind of players that they want to stay here, they want to be here.
And again, on a personnel issue, Stanton Albert has left the club. I understand it didn't quite work out for him.
No, it was always Stanton was. It was a project. It was something that on the back of. The situation with Cato, supporting Wellington as somebody who was really keen to get involved in the club. It was an opportunity for Stanton to come and show his worth as well. There was a couple of other clubs that were interested in him, but he didn't have lots of interest in this country. He came over and wanted to prove a point, and he was just behind the 8 ball. It's just with a little bit more time and a little bit more effort on his part, then it could have worked out for him. I think he needed a pre-season. He'd possibly figured a couple more times. He was getting in regular game time with the Crusaders, but he just didn't settle. Like I say, he started to train better. He started to find his feet within the training, and it just sometimes that happens. It's like I say, it's a massive culture shock. I think he felt that he was missing his home. He was also missing playing with the people that he played with for a long time in PNG Hunters.
On to rugby matters, as it were. Another close loss on Friday. You get nothing for that. You didn't get to play another day because it's a Challenge Cup game. When you see these close losses, Dennis, you might think this is a pointless question, but I'll be interested in your answer to it. Do you think if only I could sprinkle a bit of stardust on this team with a bit of money coming in from the club, like other clubs have got, the difference that would make to those close losses?
Yeah, we're like a little bit of 1 or 2 players or a couple of errors and a little lack of experience in a couple of games. The weekend's all right though, because I've had apology off the RFL for the referees for the 2 mistakes that were made that probably cost us the game, so that makes it okay.
So you play Warrington in the next round, or
yeah, so we've had a couple of apologies for errors for their Leeds' first try with an offside, quite a blatant offside, and the Ryan Ince try being onside and being called by a linesman that was 65 metres away compared to a linesman that was 2 metres away. So it's hard to take. It's hard to take when you actually, in all intents and purposes, do the right thing to win the game in the team. And that's, like I say, we made it hard work for ourselves in the start of the second half with a couple of soft tries, a couple of errors on our right edge, but we had the resilience to dig in and fight and come out the other side, and for all intents and purposes won the game, apart from the poor calls that we received. So it's hard to sit around to lads and then not have something to say about what's going on around the edges of it. But there's also areas in there that we need to tidy up, and I don't think it's I say it wasn't so much stardust with the attacking side of our game on the weekend. It was a little bit of just really poor defensive reads and defensive errors on our right edge that sort of allowed them to score 2 soft tries.
Lloyd White came off, didn't he? What's the latest?
It isn't good. It isn't good at all, really. He snapped his pec completely off the bone. He'll have an operation on Wednesday and won't play for minimum 12 weeks.
You've got a few resources in that area, fortunately, haven't you? Jordan Johnston, I thought.
We've got cover in that area, and like Jordan did a great job. Danny Walker's training the house down and ready to go again. He's like I say, he's just on that development pathway where you don't want to overuse him, you don't want to play him every week as a developing 9 in the toughest position on the field nearly. So but we've got resources there, but again, to lose the quality of someone like Lloyd, like I say, I think on his day he's probably up there in the best 2 or 3 hookers in the game in this country, and it's, you know, hoping that he gets a run of games together. You can see, you saw in the first half how devastated he can be when his game's on, and it's a big loss to us. It's a massive loss to the team.
So Magic this week, you've drawn or you've been allocated. I don't really know how it works in St Helens. Couldn't ask for an easier game than that, could you?
I think we seem to do alright against the bigger sides, don't we? And then it's like there's not a little bit of fearless, maybe that underdog mentality that we seem to thrive on. That's something we've probably got to change in ourselves a little bit as well. Having that underdog mentality to only bring our best game when we feel like there's nothing to lose. But we got St Helens. We knew we had St Helens at the start of the year before they became the side that they've turned into this year with Ben Barber in their team, and it's going to be a big challenge. But I think the lads are pretty keen to get out there and carry on some of the things we did against Leeds. We need to tidy up a couple of areas defensively, and we need to then attack this game with real steel. Let's
talk about Barber for a second, because everybody is, and I'm sure you saw his performance against Castleford on Saturday, and there's been a number of other great performances this year. An absolutely instinctive rugby league player, I'd say.
He's an outstanding star. He's a star of the game. You see him play, he brings a life to it as well. He's got a smile on his face, he's bouncing about, he's enjoying himself, and I think that everybody else feeds off it. I think what you get with truly inspirational players or great players is that they make people around them better. And when you look at the St Helens side this year, who had and have some outstanding individuals in their roster, those players are playing better because of the levels that Ben Barber's setting. And that's what you look for as well in a player. You don't need just need a player that's going to score your tries or be an individual within your group. The great players make your team better. I think that's what Ben Barber's done for St Helens this year. Saying that, I think we handled him a little bit like Castleford said they handled him. We did a lot of good things on him when we played them here. We got pretty close. He had a try allowed that wasn't a try when he dropped the ball, but he scores a try out of nothing and he sets another one up. Other than that, we handled him really well. So it's only really 18 points and not the 24 he's averaging across the team when he's playing most weeks. I think we've got a lot of challenges. I think Percival's playing really well. I thought Lomax is settled into the half-back slot really good. Makinson's dangerous in the backfield. John Wilkins probably playing some of the best rugby he's played in a number of years. He's really thriving on the back of Luke Thompson. Luke Thompson as a young kid as a front row must be in contention this year for international honours. He must be knocking on the door because of the form he's showing. And then there's always the threat like that. One of their best players week in week out, but you just expect it from James Roby. It's a tough team to challenge, and we've got our tasks laid out in front of us. But I think it's a good challenge for us this week at the end as well, just to see if we can hold some kind of form from the weekend and go into this game with a real positive attitude.
So obviously no Lloyd White. Anyone back who missed the game last week?
We've got a couple of tests on Danny Craven with his AC joint. Like I say, his shoulder's it's just a painful injury, and the same with Pat Arvan. They're just painful injuries. And like I say, last couple of games I think that they've played with them and they played with injections, and they became passengers, and I don't really want to put them in that position again. And we've got a little bit of cover in certain positions. Jimmy Kinehorse comes back into the mix this weekend as well. He's available, and also the fact that, like I say, Danny Craven and Pat are having tests. Joe Miller, I'm really hopeful that Joe Miller will figure this week as well. He's run this weekend. He seems to be paying free at the moment, so I think he's virtually 90% settled into the side. So Joe will figure this weekend, and we're getting bodies back, but we're still waiting on those couple of big hitters. Chris Howson's getting closer again. I think we're looking at maybe another couple of weeks before Chris could be out on the field running and ready to go. And Gil Dudson and Christian Inu, we're looking at middle of next month. So they're catching up as well. So it's all climbing on top of us. But as they're getting closer, the season's getting further and further away. So it's a tough time to be without your best players.
Finally, it's Magic. It's the 12th year of Magic now. I think it's 4th at Newcastle. I think you've said in the past that you enjoy this occasion. Are you still a fan of the Magic concept?
I like the weekend. Yeah, it's a party atmosphere. It was pretty good last year, and it's a great occasion. Like I say, you get all the rugby league fans in one place. You get all the rugby league teams over a weekend. It's hopefully it seems like it's going to be a nice weekend. Hopefully we can pull people away from a royal wedding in the FA Cup.